Yeah, so welcome. My name is Ian Belina. I'm the founder and CEO of Token Metrics. We're a cryptocurrency investment research company. This is the Token Metrics Clubhouse room. So glad to have you all here. And today's topic is Coinbase $100 billion IPO. All hype, all legit. So if you've been living under a rock, or maybe if you've not been actively keeping tabs with the crypto world, we're about to have the biggest IPO in crypto's history. This is basically, in my opinion, monumental. This will open up the floodgates and bring in so many people from mainstream retail investors and traders to mainstream institutions into the space, because so many people had viewed cryptocurrency as something on the outskirts, on the fringes. But now, when you see a legit company IPO at $100 billion valuation, it's very hard to ignore it after that. And I think this is such a huge endorsement for the space, because we keep on saying cryptocurrencies and blockchain are Web3. What does that mean? Well, if you go back and look at Web 1, I basically view that as the dot-com era. You had big IPOs back then. You had Googles, you had Amazons of the world, you had even Yahoos, right? Then in Web 2, you also had big IPOs that really opened the floodgates. Web 2 is what I call social media. So basically you had Facebook. Yeah, right. You even had companies just getting bought like YouTube, Instagram for just large amounts of money. Even back then, they viewed them as being overvalued. YouTube got bought for $1 billion. Instagram got bought for $1 billion, and back then people thought that was overvalued. But at this point in time, Instagram is probably worth almost $50 billion, right? So I think this is the same thing happening now with Web3. We now have the official leader in the crypto space as an exchange in the US coming out of the gates, launching a huge IPO at a $100 billion valuation. All of traditional finance is calling this overvalued. But I think if you look at this as something monumental that opens up the next wave of the internet, Web3, meaning that we're now shifting into the internet where things are decentralized, Coinbase is the official on-ramp to that. So people who want to get into crypto, in the US especially, Coinbase is their first entryway. And Coinbase is really the catalyst for that. So I think this is going to be huge, massive. Now, I currently don't own stocks. I don't own Coinbase stock. I don't have any plans to buy stock, but I can definitely respect this as being something huge for the space. And now I may buy stocks eventually for Coinbase. I don't know, but I think the future is bright for crypto. And now you have other companies also that will follow Coinbase's lead. Maybe not at a large valuation. For example, Kraken is going to do a direct listing or SPAC, I believe, at about $10 billion valuation. Same thing with eToro. Gemini as well might also possibly do an IPO. BlockFi as well. So there's so many big companies that are now going to follow in Coinbase's lead. And I think a rising tide lifts all boats. So you have all these companies coming out. And I think the future is very, very, very bright. So with that being said, let me bring a few people up on stage here. Let me bring up Ugo. And then if you have any, I guess, Ugo, can you hear me? Ugo? Okay, I guess not. Here, let's see who has a question. So this K4321, please come up on stage. Once again, reminder, this is being recorded. So if you don't want me to be recorded, please exit the stage. Okay. Hello?
Good. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Ugo. Go ahead. Any thoughts on the Coinbase IPO you want to share with the room?
To echo everything you've said, it's a very exciting time in crypto. And I believe it's going to be, right now, the valuation is about 100 billion, but it's even trading higher than that. So it's about, I don't know, like 10x multiple on the revenue. So it's crazy. And I just think it's also an opportunity for people who think that crypto is so volatile to still have exposure to crypto on a more sort of stable asset, in a sense, something that kind of makes revenue even in a bull/bear market without being exposed to the volatility. And I just think it kind of, like Ian mentioned, just takes crypto to a whole different level. It kind of provides some kind of credibility as well. And if the price does really well, there's going to be so much media coverage on it that I think is just going to lift all crypto projects. So very excited for this IPO tomorrow for sure.
All right, awesome. Ugo, thank you. Okay, let's bring up K4321 back on stage. And once again, this is being recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, please don't come on stage. Okay. Hello, K. Can you hear us? Okay, seems we're having some issues here. Technical issues. Okay, once again, if you'd like to come on stage, just raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. Seeing some familiar faces. Hey, Florian. Hey, Chantal. Hey, Jacob. Actually, sorry, I forgot to post the link for this room. That probably would help. Just give me 1 second. Let me send this out to our... So by the way, this is being done by Token Metrics. You can follow us on YouTube. We have free videos on... Just go and type in Token Metrics. Also find us on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Everywhere is just Token Metrics. Okay, so posting that in the private alerts as well. Okay, so let's try this again, Kay. I'm not sure why it's not coming through for you. Okay, I think maybe there's something wrong with your phone. Okay, Amaro, how about you, man? You're here on stage. What's your thought on the Coinbase IPO as somebody who's new to crypto?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, Ian, I think this is monumental. Meeting like the Token Metrics family, I started investing a little bit more into crypto, and I've been using Coinbase. And I didn't even know that there was other like platforms that you could purchase crypto off of. So with all the hype, I can imagine that this is just going to flood the doors, like you said, because it's really much that entry level, and I think it's going to be amazing for the industry in general.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Amaro. Okay, Kay, I think we finally got you on stage. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello, Ian.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Yeah. There was a post on CoinDesk saying Coinbase's reference price is $250, which is 66.5 billion valuation instead of 100 billion. Like, do you think if it's released anything lower than 100 billion or around 66 billion, that it will have any sort of negative effect?
Not really. I think the fact of just even launching at that price, because I believe ICE, which is the parent company for the New York Stock Exchange, has a valuation of about 65 billion, right? So the fact that a crypto exchange is launching at that same valuation, and I think even that's undervalued, because if you try to view Coinbase as, if you try to measure it against the past, that's not the way to do it, right? It's kind of like how people try to measure or compare Tesla with past car companies, because Tesla was basically going from 0 to 1. For those who are fans of Peter Thiel, his book 0 to 1, where he says that when you innovate something, you aren't just trying to make a better mousetrap. You aren't just trying to add on something that's just a marginal increment and just making a better product. 0 to 1 means that you're making something that's completely transformational. So Tesla, basically being the first electric car manufacturer to really grow at that scale, is different than comparing them to a regular car company, because they're really a tech company. And I think the same way with Coinbase. Coinbase is really not meant to be viewed as your typical exchange or bank. This is us going from Web 2 to Web 3, where we're basically carving out and building a completely new internet. And if you look at how big that internet could be 5 years down the road, 10, 15 years down the road, I think that can be massive, right? Because it's not just the internet, but it's also, we're building new money, a whole new financial world. And Coinbase will be the gateway to that world. So when you factor in, like, we're going from 0 to 1 in the blockchain and crypto space, I don't think you can really look at regular past companies and try to put it in the same ballpark. I think that's why, even though I'm not buying it, I think long term I think there's just so much upside in Coinbase as a company. Anybody, Ugo, any thoughts on that? Anything else you want to add to that?
Just that I feel like this is going to kind of open up more opportunities for crypto companies to be legitimized and also to be able to go public. And I feel like this is also more like what NFTs have been doing. This is also a great way to go mainstream because everyone watching the news will kind of start to look at, okay, what is this Coinbase? How do I invest in crypto? And I just think it's a great thing for crypto. And it's amazing that we've come so far, starting from when Bitcoin used to be on Silk Road and it was, associated with negative things. And now we have a crypto exchange going on, public. So that's amazing. It's a testament to how much crypto has progressed. Very exciting times.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. What a time to be alive. I mean, to kind of add on to that, right? I think, as you said, this is really opening the doors for so many new companies now to come in and really show the world what they've been building in this space, right? Because this is really like our 15 minutes of fame that I think the crypto space is going to now turn into a lifetime of fame, right? Because as I mentioned, this is the whole new internet, the whole new future of money, and now all these companies will be in the spotlight. Okay, all right. We have somebody who wants to come.
I had a quick question, Ian.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Or it might be for Ugo as well. I've just done like a little bit of research. It looks like Coinbase that's a direct listing, and isn't that different than an IPO? And if so, can one of y'all explain the differences?
Yes, yeah. I mean, so my understanding is there are basically three pathways to get listed. There's an IPO, there's a direct listing, and there's a SPAC. Right, and mine, obviously, I'm no investment banker per se, right? So please pardon me if I miss out on some points. But an IPO, you basically are issuing new shares, then basically having those sold to the public, right? Then with a SPAC, you're basically getting a company that's already listed. It's basically a holding company or a company on the shelf that you then basically merge with and basically change their ticker to your name. Right, that's what's been popular. That's what Chamath has been doing. Now, Coinbase chose to go with a direct listing. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Ugo, they basically are not issuing any new shares. They're just selling shares that were already issued. And the reason that I believe they're doing that is because they're already a profitable company. Right? Because most companies IPO to raise money. Coinbase is not raising any money, right? Because I believe they've had 1.8 billion. In sales and basically money made in just Q1 of this year, which is more than I think all of last year. So basically they've had a strong correlation with the rise of Bitcoin, and they've basically been printing money to a point where they don't have to raise new capital via an IPO. They can just opt to go straight to the exchange and just list prior shares. And I think that's kind of the gist of it. Ugo, anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's just direct listings do not raise any new capital, like Ian mentioned, and also there's no preset price decided by investment bankers. Pretty much, I think usually when it's ready to list, there's just buy and sell orders. I mean, bid and ask, and pretty much it goes to market at that price. So it's kind of like there's just not a big entity like an investment banker that moderates the whole listing, and there's no raising of funds. And it's better suited for something like a crypto company like Coinbase that, has a lot of money and really kind of wants to go to the market without any third party, in a sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Hugo. Does that answer your question, Amaro?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what Spotify did. They went direct listing as well.
Okay. All right. So let's bring up Lucian on stage. Once again, this is being recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, please don't come up on stage. Hello, Lucian. Can you hear us?
Sorry, I can hear you now, Ian. Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. You sort of answered one of my questions, which was if they're raising capital or not and what they intended to do with that capital. But They're already profitable, so they're not really raising capital. It sounds like they're going to probably dump on the little guy and sell off some shares. But my other question is, do you think since Coinbase is sort of the gateway into a $2.2 trillion market, do you think that has an impact on their valuation at all, and could possibly cap their valuation? Right? It's like, how could this public company be more valuable than the total market cap of the whole crypto space?
Sorry, how can this company be more valuable than the entire market cap? So basically, can Coinbase surpass the
saying
market cap?
How could it surpass?
Definitely not. I mean, because Coinbase, so initially they said it was going to launch at about $100 billion valuation, but according to the price, I think they dropped today. I think it's going to be more about $65 billion or so. But the crypto space just passed $2 trillion, right? And if you look at Coinbase's biggest competition, Binance, right? Binance is actually bigger than Coinbase, because Coinbase is basically mainly focused on American customers, while Binance is basically the biggest exchange in the whole world. They have more trading volume than Coinbase. So I think, if anything, Binance now warrants a larger valuation. And this could possibly make CZ one of the richest people in the world, right? And Binance also has a token, right? And their token has been on fire, just crossing $500 recently. So as long as Binance is bigger than Coinbase, and Binance has a token, and then you also have Bitcoin and Ethereum and Polkadot and all these other projects, I don't really think it's possible for Coinbase to ever surpass the entire crypto market cap, right? Because Coinbase, in a way, kind of goes the way crypto markets go, right? The way Bitcoin goes, the way Ethereum goes, the way altcoins go, right? So I feel like the two are basically interconnected long term. They're basically married at the hip.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just trying to see if there could be or would be some sort of correlation.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, if you have any questions.
Ian, I've got a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you think necessarily any coins on Coinbase will pump?
Any coins on Coinbase? Oh, absolutely. I mean, because Coinbase is now in the spotlight, right? I mean, as I mentioned, Q1 has been their best quarter yet. And as we approach their IPO tomorrow, you now have all the media companies, all of Wall Street covering it. You have Bitcoin going to 63K with a new all-time high. You have Ethereum going to a new all-time high. Like, everything is pumping, basically, right? So essentially, a rising tide is lifting all boats. And I think all these eyeballs now, all this money flowing in, is going to go into Coinbase. They'll buy Bitcoin, they'll buy Ethereum, and they'll buy lots of altcoins, right? Lots of altcoins that they think could possibly be the next Bitcoin, especially those that have a low price. Even though the price does not matter, it's really based on the market cap and the valuation. But newbies will look at the price, right, of assets that are, I would say, kind of like XRP, even though XRP is not on Coinbase anymore, right? But assets that are pennies on the dollar, and view those as possible investments. So I think everything in crypto is going to go up. Now, if Coinbase, let's say, flops in the first 1 month, right? I think there might be a short-term dip, but long-term, I think everything's going to go up, because now Coinbase, because being a publicly traded company makes business so much easier, because companies now know that you're official, you're legit, you've been basically audited, and in a way kind of been stamped by the SEC and public markets as a legit company. Ugo, what's your take on that? Do you think Coinbase coins will pump?
I believe so, because people will pretty much look in the news and wonder what is Coinbase, and then go in there and be able to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think Bitcoin and Ethereum is already rising in anticipation of the listing. So tomorrow, when the whole world finds this out, then I think Coinbase is gonna they're gonna have a record number of new signups, and all these people are gonna be looking into buying coins listed on Coinbase. So definitely, I believe they will go up.
Okay. Yeah, and I think one thing to factor into this, right? I think Coinbase having their IPO this could really be the catalyst needed to now usher in the first Bitcoin ETF. And that will bring in a whole new wave of investors in the space. And that should push the price of Bitcoin and crypto and other cryptos up as well, because we now have a publicly traded crypto company in Coinbase. We have I think three or more companies, four companies putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We have MicroStrategy, we have Square Cash, we have I think there was a Japanese company as well, and was Twitter confirmed? I think Twitter was looking at it as well, but I think that there were four companies that basically were putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So with then now having also institutions entering the space, from PayPal to Visa, I mean, there have been so many big companies that have really now co-signed cryptocurrencies. And then with the new SEC Commissioner, Gary Gensler, who used to teach a blockchain and crypto course at MIT, he's now the SEC chairman. So he's the person who will lead the body that will possibly approve the ETF, right? So I think it feels like almost everything has now finally aligned for a Bitcoin ETF. And if that comes, I mean, I can, not financial advice, but I can see Bitcoin going to 100K, right? So, I mean, what a time to be alive. Okay, so we've brought up Samora. Once again, this is being recorded. If you don't want me to be recorded, please get off stage. Go ahead, Samora. What's your question?
Hey, Ian.
Hey, what's up?
I just wanted to continue on what you were talking about with Binance earlier, and how they're basically a continuation of they're a different version of what Coinbase is, and with their value at their market cap at 85 billion or so by now. Do you think I guess two questions. Do you think that Coinbase will eventually have their own token? And do you think if they do you think at some point Coinbase could surpass Binance at any point?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Actually, you know what? Yes. Coinbase has basically been following the legal blueprint, the legal route, and they don't want to go into any areas that can be deemed as gray zones, especially right now because the SEC hasn't put out any official framework for categorizing whether a token can be viewed as a security or not. Now, actually today, Hester Pierce, who's one of the crypto moms, or basically one of the chairwomen of the SEC, just put out an update to her safe harbor proposal called version 2 that goes into more details into a positive framework for basically it's a safe harbor and a pathway for cryptocurrencies not to be deemed as securities. And I think if that ever gets approved, especially with the new SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, or SEC commissioner, if there's ever a legal pathway, right? If there's ever a legal pathway to issue cryptocurrencies and not have them be securities, then I think it will be a no-brainer for Coinbase to issue their own cryptocurrency. But because of the lack of clarity, because of the ambiguity, I think they're holding off on that. But if SEC comes out with a framework this year or next year or in a few years down the road, I mean, that's basically easy money for them. That's money because if they launch a token, I'm pretty sure it'll be at the same level as Binance, right? Or maybe as other exchange traded tokens like Uniswap, SushiSwap, 1H Exchange, right? So for them, I think they're just concerned about being compliant, or maybe it might be challenging because they're about to IPO, right? Maybe I think the infrastructure and compliance would have to be bolstered to a point where they would feel comfortable issuing a token. And I think if there's clarity from a regulatory perspective, I can see them issuing a token.
Sorry, can I just add on to that?
Yeah.
So do you think, that's a great point, because with Uniswap and I guess SushiSwap, they were able to airdrop tokens and get away with that. Do you think Coinbase could do something like that?
Possibly, but I still think they would wait for the SEC to officially put out a framework that basically removes any ambiguity, right? And I think that's basically their pathway to ever issuing a token. I don't see them ever issuing a token without having a legal framework that their legal team and compliance team will be comfortable with.
That makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's take one more question, then we'll wrap up. Unfortunately, this clubhouse room is going to be short. Let's bring up George on stage. Once again, this is being recorded to be posted on our YouTube channel. If you don't like that, please don't come on stage. Okay, George, you're the last person asking a question. Okay. All right, there we go.
Hi, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, what I wanted to ask you about is about Binance and do you think Binance is going to be extended to the United States, even though with the Binance.US, I don't think they are affiliated in any way. Is there any way that they are going to be they will extend their service to the United States since they have tokens and stuff, and it hasn't been really legalized in the United States?
Good question. I mean, first thing, I'm not a legal person or an attorney or a lawyer, but from talking to one actually, one who used to work with BitMEX, he told us that he does not ever view the American regulators ever approving anything Binance, right? Because Binance basically played whack-a-mole, right? They leveraged geographical arbitrage to basically they launched in China, then got chased out of China, went to Japan, went to Malta, Singapore, right? And at this point, nobody even knows where they're actually headquartered, right? Because they're always shifting and playing games. That's why they also had to create a separate entity for the U.S. because, I mean, from a legal perspective, this is really the only way path. It's the only way there, right? So basically, that U.S. entity licenses the name Binance from the Binance entity, but I don't think Binance, the global entity, ever has a chance of IPOing in the U.S. That's why I think even when they had their IPO, they were trying to do it, I believe, in Japan or in some other Asian exchange, right? Because if they ever come to the U.S. and want to do an IPO on NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, like Coinbase did, they would basically have to go through so much compliance. They basically have to expose everything they've ever done, right? Exactly. And especially in the U.S. to U.S. investors, and I think that's going to be a nightmare for them. Right? Because they basically they didn't really ask for permission. They just kind of moved fast and did things, right? Which kind of works, right? Because even in the Coinbase IPO filing, the S1, I believe, they mentioned that their biggest competitor, which they didn't name, but everyone knows who it was, right? They were able to leverage basically lack of regulation in other jurisdictions and also lack of early enforcement from U.S. entities, from U.S. regulators to really grow, right? Until the end where they kind of cleaned up their act. But I'm not saying Binance is a bad company. I mean, and they're super legit, third biggest cryptocurrency out there, right? But them issuing a token with no clear pathway for regulation in the U.S., them not really kicking out U.S. investors until a few years back, right? All this with things that Coinbase could not do, right? Because Coinbase, Gemini, all these Kraken, all of them were really following the U.S. rules and laws, right? But Binance, even for example, having futures trading, right? Futures are not really allowed in the U.S., right? That's kind of why even BitMEX is having issues. So I think if they came into the U.S. and wanted to ever IPO, they would have to basically open the whole kimono, and it would not look good. That's what a lawyer told me who used to work with crypto exchanges.
Oh, okay. Are they in any way associated with USDC? Because I had read an article which stated that they were kind of connected with USDC.
So. Yeah, there's some kind of connection. So I believe USDC is a stablecoin that's in partnership with Circle and with Coinbase.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciated.
Okay. Ugo, do you have any last words before we wrap up?
Tune in tomorrow just to follow the Coinbase IPO and also just track the coins there just to see how well they're doing. And I also wanted to respond to George's question. Yeah, I completely agree with what Ian is saying. I think just not when they come to US, there will be a lot of compliance.
Compliance.
Yes, and I think they're very comfortable just kind of making money the way they are. They have leverage positions. They have a bunch of stuff that I feel like if they try to come to the US, it will be questioned. So they're very comfortable doing that. And I don't know if you read the article saying that Binance was fined slightly because the CEO encouraged US people to use VPN. So somehow US people are still against trading on Binance. So I think he's eating his cake and having it at the same time. I don't really think he's going to full on come to the US.
Yeah, that is actually true. And I heard they were fined when they started USDT as well. There was a fine, and they were supposed to disclose a lot of the documentation with how they wanted to kind of mark the USDT with the US dollar. Mm-hmm. In one of the articles I read, that was what came up, that USDT was really a big problem when they had to start up.
That I don't know much of, unfortunately, so I can't really comment too much on that.
Okay. And then this is an off-topic question, but do you know much about BitCloud and what all it's about, BitCloud?
I mean, it's been pretty popular. It's basically a whole new social network, kind of like Twitter, but basically on the blockchain. It's been invite only. I know that people have told me that I have my own coin on there, but I've not yet gone on there to redeem it. I've kind of been busy, and our team also hasn't had a chance to do a full in-depth review on it. But I mean, it's been backed by lots of big name investors, so I think that's why lots of the FOMO comes from, right? I think A16Z and Chamath and a few others are behind it, right? But I've not had a chance to really use it myself.
Okay. Yeah, it's something I just wanted to find out if you had an idea about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Great to have you here. Once again, feel free to join us on YouTube at tokenmetrics.com, or just go to YouTube and just type in Token Metrics. We also have a podcast as well, tokenmetrics.com/podcast. With that being said, see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.